Hi, this is Happy Catastrophe, otherwise known as Candice or Sister Minh Bao, because as most of you know, I am an ordained Buddhist nun as well as an avid colorist. Get on with the video. And this is Gudetama. Now, some folks have asked what Gudetama is. He's an egg. He's sort of an existential egg. He's an egg that has serious anxiety and depression problems. He's a major icon in Japan. Japan has a lot of different mascots that are popular, and Gudetama is one of the most popular, which says a lot about a whole culture of people that find a depressed, anxious-ridden egg to be something they relate to. If you ever get a chance, there is some you can follow. Gudetama was a manga, I think, but it was also a TV show. And sometimes you can find it. It will be subtitled in English, and it'll be in Japanese. But he himself is just the funniest little guy. He comes in all kinds of poses, and he's always not happy. So this is Gudetama, and I have a bunch of little figurines of him. I just absolutely love him. And sometimes he joins me in my videos, but I usually have to put him away because he is sassy. All right. Hi, everyone. How are you? How are you doing? I know some of you are having some rough days, so I just wanted to say that I see you and I love you and I know that everything's going to be all right. It really will. And here I am. Me and my 55-year-old hands are here to show you what I colored, what these hands colored last month, April 2024. So let's look at my coloring book. All right. Whoa, catastrophe. Okay. April 2024 looked like this. I always strive for 10, at least 10 finished pages. It's not, I mean, I've had months where I didn't hit 10, but I do try to hit 10. I think 10 is doable, and it keeps me going when there's times where I just am not sure I can color a page that day. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not at 10 yet. So I don't have many days like that. I color every evening before I go to bed. But this month I colored 12. I didn't purchase any books. Did I? I don't think so. Nope. I didn't destash any books, but I was gifted. I was gifted a book. So I will make a mark there. Out of the 12 books, 12 pages I colored, there were 6 untouched books out of that. So that's great, because my goal is by the end of this year to have no untouched books. So I forgot to do the math. Hold on, let me do the math. That took a little longer than I thought because, well, math. So I have a total of 141 books, and I have 29 that are untouched, which is down from 35. So I'm at 21% untouched. That's remarkable. That's fantastic. And my goal is, if by the end of this year there are still some untouched books that aren't, brand new, I'm going to destash them, because they would have had an entire year, more than an entire year, for me to get into them. And for some reason, I'm just not. So I did a few buddy colors. I did a group buddy. And then I made a lot of scratchy notes. I checked off. I wrote, I want to get more. Every month I'm like, this is going to look better, but it always looks like this, because I write down what I'm pretty sure I'm going to do. And then I'm like, oh, I forgot one, I add it. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I'm not going to do that. We're going to move it to May. And anyway, but I ended up doing a lot of what I had planned. So let's look at the books that I did. The first page I want to show you is out of Happy Mail. Look at this. Whee! I'm so excited. I have received Happy Mail once or twice before, but wow, this is unbelievable. So my new friend, Sarah Simi, I will put her Instagram hashtag right here. She's a fabulous colorist, a wonderful human being. She just out of the blue decided she wanted to send me some gifts. She says that she enjoys my videos, that sometimes she feels down and she watches my videos and they lift her up, which I'm so happy to hear that. And so out of gratitude, she bought a couple things off of my Amazon wish list and a couple things that she just likes. So let's start with this. This was on my wish list because I'm starting to get, I've actually got a couple short pencils. I don't use pencils a lot, but so I only have a few sets, but there are some that are getting short, mostly blacks and browns. And I had one of these extenders and look how pretty they are. I've not taken them out of the wrap yet, but aren't they gorgeous? I am so excited. I can't wait for a pencil to get short. I have a couple blacks that are almost short enough. I can't wait for them to get short enough to use this. They're really cool. They're reminiscent of those fancy cigarette holders you see in all the 1940s and 50s movies. I used to pretend I had a long cigarette when I was a child. Of course, we had candy cigarettes. Remember candy cigarettes? They came in a little cigarette box and you open them up and they looked just like a cigarette. And you could sit there and pretend you were smoking them. Yeah, that was a thing in the 80s, 70s. Anyway, so this beautiful gift was in a package. Ooh, there's one more. Trying not to make too much crinkly sound. Look at that purple. These are gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. Okay. Also, glaze pens. I was calling her my fairy, my wish fairy that was sending me gifts, but now she's also a mind reading wish fairy because I use these a lot and they're expensive and I'm really short on cash this month. And so my very last one, I just squeezed out the last bit of it and I was so sad because I couldn't finish even the page I was working on. I had to fake do the glaze. These are the Sakura glaze and they're a little bit, they have a little bit of a dimension to them and they're super, super glossy and they're great for eyes and all kinds of accents. And I use them on almost every page. And I had just used my last one and I knew it was going to be a while before I could afford to buy anything. So, and then suddenly these came in the mail. I couldn't believe it. I absolutely couldn't believe it. I think I cried in the post office parking lot. I live out in the woods in a cabin, and so the closest civilization is about 12 miles away, and that's where there's a post office in a tiny, all it is a post office and a bar, of course. And then you have to go another 20 miles or so to get into town. But so when I go by the post office, I'm always surprised when there's a package in there. It's usually from me, but lately I haven't been able to order in packages. And there was these packages. I was like, oh my God, what could this be? And I opened it up and Sarah, oh, you sweet thing, you. The next thing, I'm going to save this for last. You can see this was actually the first thing I received. But she sent me this cute little book. Now this is by Amanda Kastner. She has a few books out which are popular right now. One is that, oh, I was going to put the names. Here are the names of her other two books. And I've seen some of you have that one that looks like it's Snow White and she's going through the forest, that one. A lot of you have that one and you've been coloring some beautiful pages in it. This one is tiny. I have small hands and this is the size of my hand. It's a tiny, tiny little book. But what it is, and it's on Amazon paper. And I was thinking, what am I going to do with this? And then I colored the first page and I fell in love. I use alcohol markers. The alcohol markers soak in and spread. But once I realized that, and this was one that leaked, once I realized that, I had a lot of fun. These are my Copics, which I know very well. And so it's pretty easy for me to, once I figure out how much they'll spread on the paper, to work with it. And so I did this in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then I was like, I got to do another one. So I turned the page and did the next one and did her there. And again, in Copics, alcohol markers, and just had a lot of fun. I don't know. They're so simple, but they're just like, it was truly, I was able to shut off my mind and just have fun coloring these in, and they're done in 15, 20 minutes. And these backgrounds are so small. I mean, I just did, like this one, I did dots of Copic marker of alcohol ink. And this one I just drew in the flower, the sort of wonky flower things. And I'm going to have fun doing something different in every single background because, again, it takes like 15 minutes to do the whole page. They're just tiny. I mean, it might take more if you use pencils. And there is quite a bit of tooth on this paper. It is thin, but this isn't going to be one of those 2-day masterpieces. This is something you can get done and have a small win. I'm not a fan of Johanna Basford, so I don't have her Small Victories book, but I imagine it's kind of like that. You do a small page and it's done, and you can turn the page. So this will actually be a book that, probably the only book in my collection that I'll actually finish. And she says, I think she said that she has this and she really enjoys it. And this, I was completely not on my radar. So she bought it for me and sent it to me thinking I would enjoy it. And she's so right. Oh my gosh. I've even, on my way home from work yesterday, I have a long drive. I have an 1.5-hour drive to work. On my way home, I thought, I know what I'm going to do with these. So when I get done coloring them, when the whole book's done, because I don't want to start cutting pages out because I found that sometimes that makes a book fall apart, is when I get these done, I'm going to take the book apart and I'm going to mount the page on a mat, on just some black cardstock with a mat, like a mat, or whatever color works. So they'll be like, it will be mounted on some cardstock. And that'll make them very sturdy. And then what I would love to do, if I can, if it works, is to laminate them. Or maybe I don't mount them and I just laminate them. Either way, I think mounting them would make them look like little pieces of artwork. And then I can use them as bookmarks. I saw another colorist that did this. And I can use them as bookmarks, or I can put them on my wall in my bedroom. I was thinking in my bathroom, I have this sort of, everything here is wood. I'm in a cabin and I have very few walls. Almost all my walls are actually logs, but the few internal walls I have are actual walls. And I have one that has some wainscoting that's also wood. And these pictures would look good on just in a line along that. But isn't this wonderful? These pages are just, they're just, here are those books that she has. Aha! Small Adventures is the one that I've seen many of you have. Look how tiny this is. Arctic Mermaid coloring book. I think I might want to see if I can find a flip through that one. And she colored. These are Jane Austen quotes. So these are books by Amanda Kastner. This is her information, where you can get her information, 2022. And just a tiny, tiny little book, and absolutely adorable. So Sarah, I'm having so much fun with this. And I've been sending her photos and we've been talking. She just is absolutely delightful. So yes, so I did a couple pages in miniatures, a coloring book of flowers and faces. Okay, now this is what she sent me first. Can you believe this? I only just recently bought a Hannah Carlzon book, Daydreams, and realized I absolutely love her. I didn't know people. I didn't know the joy of coloring a Hannah Carlzon page. And now I do. And now I just color. I just love her. But that's the only book I had. And I don't know what prompted her, but with no warning whatsoever, this showed up in my post office box with just, the typical Amazon note that said, enjoy your gift, Sarah. And I was like, what? Who does that? See, here it is. Enjoy your gift from Sarah Simi. Who does that? Who just gets up and buys a Hannah Carlzon book for someone? Let me zoom out a little bit, get my back in here. I mean, who does that? This book is phenomenal. The paper, you know this book, the paper, it's all the seasons. So here I'm going from the back to front. So we're starting with winter and it'll come to fall here pretty quick. And oh my God, I mean, you've all seen this book. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Oh, look at that. Oh, yes. And I've seen so many of you do this page. absolutely stunningly beautiful. And there's a color along. There's a couple color alongs for this. So I might follow a color along for the first time ever. But I want to do every single page. So, of course, this is actually, I marked this because I don't know. Oh, because, no, this isn't the strawberry one. Why did I mark this? I might have thought I was going to do this one next. I don't know. I could have just stuck this in the wrong spot too, because there's one with strawberries on it that I kind of want to do next. But I did do 2 pages out of this book. I've seen this done a lot, and every single one of them is gorgeous. And here's what I did. So this page, this is slightly, this is a lot of experimentation. A lot of experimentation. And there are parts I love and parts I don't, but the whole thing, I think, was so much fun because of the paper, because of what I used. And in these Hannah Carlzon books, especially when the 2 pages sort of go together, I'm doing them together. So here's a couple of pages I did. And what I thought, my whole idea for this is the very first, other than the book belongs to page, this is the very first pages. And it's kind of like when spring is coming. So these jars say seeds and sunbeams. And my idea was I would make it all gray, except like it's a gray winter. We have in Oregon, where I live in the valley, we don't see the sky for months and months. We just see clouds. So it's very gray. And then when the clouds actually leave and we get some sun, it's very impactful. It's like, wow, we kind of forget. We don't see shadows for months and months. And then suddenly the sun is here and we see shadows. It's totally a different outside and different outdoors to us. And it's shocking and wonderful. So that's kind of what I thought. I thought, okay, with these bright colors coming from a gray winter. And I do love how she turned out. She was a lot of things I experimented on this page and then did it better on this page. So I made the background just swirls and much lighter. I like her skin tone and such. What I did, this is a lot of this is acrylic paint pen. A lot of it is. And then this in here is polychromos, the pencil work is. But the rest of it is pretty much acrylic paint pen. And it was easy and fun. And then I have this stuff. Let me grab it. I think I showed it to you. This stuff. The Nuvo. It says Nuvo Clear Dimensional Crystal Glaze. This is kind of like the Ranger stuff. You know what I'm talking about. The Ranger stuff that we all put on our eyeballs and stuff. But it's more fluid. It's not so thick. So it spreads better and it kind of spreads out a bit better and you can manage it a little bit better. And it ends up still with some dimension, but not maybe as much as the Ranger stuff, which that is still not coming to me, the name of it. You are all screaming it at me right now. There's also some shiny. This is, there is, I didn't use a metallic acrylic. What I did was I took the Kuretake Ganzai Tombi, this. I use this a lot, as you can see, all the time, and I'm about ready to have to get a new one. But I use this, the white, and it's very transparent, but it works really well, especially watered down quite a bit, on top of other color to give it a shimmery, shiny look. So this is just regular, let's see, that's acrylic. It couldn't be acrylic pen underneath it, could it? Yep, it is. It's acrylic pen underneath it. I must have been very careful to not reactivate it with the watercolor. And that just made that shiny. This here is that, I showed it to you in a last month, but it's that, it's very difficult to use. It's a very, very runny metallic ink, kind of like watercolor, but it's very fussy and difficult to use. This would have been, it's much easier to just use a metallic paint, would be much easier. But yeah, I've got some of that glossy stuff in a lot of spots, as you can see. So she shimmers a lot, and I really liked her. Now this side, what I did here was the same. You see the glossy stuff on top of. Now these bottles, of course, are pencil. I use some polychromos, but the darker stuff is all acrylic paint pen. And you can see the Posca there, and it's got some metallic gel pen. But the rest of this, I tortured this page because it just wasn't working. I used several gray paint pens to make it kind of stormy looking on the inside, which I kind of like. And the leaves were completely colored in and it wasn't working. So I made them black. I went over them again. And this was with, I think this was all the Sakura. Yeah, this is all Sakura glaze, I believe, which is probably how I used up that whole pen. Now the background, this background was, I tried a number of things, and eventually what I settled on was crayons, actual Crayola crayons. A few different colors, and then with some Gamsol applied with a blending stump to blend it kind of together. So I really wanted to give it kind of a stormy feel and make all this black and gray and stormy, and then just have the bottles be bright. Now, the thing that gave me the hardest were these dots. They were lots of different things before they were what they ended up to be. I wanted it to look like the dots were coming out like spores or pollen or something, and they were what was going to spread the color. And originally I had everywhere they touched was spreading color onto that thing. I didn't do that right, and it didn't look good. So I went back over. That's how come the leaves ended up black. That's how come, and I went over with acrylic paint pen and got rid of all of that effect because it just didn't work. And so what this ended up being was acrylic paint pen that made the color. And then I wanted to make them sparkly. So I used some glitter glue. And this is cheap stuff that I got from the dollar store. It worked out well for its purpose. And I think they are shimmery and shiny. They were a lot smaller, but as I fussed with them, they got bigger and bigger. I don't know if it says what I wanted to say, but I kind of like it. I think the shimmer kind of saves it. And that glaze, that clear glaze on the bottles helps a lot too. It's definitely an odd page. I was kind of going out of my comfort zone. Yes, I pick a brand new book gifted to me from a wonderful person to experiment in. That's so Candice. I am a walking happy catastrophe. But, then you have something that you've learned from. And together, I think they're all right. I learned from this background, and I didn't try that over here. I made the background much more subtle because this was kind of a hot mess. But those are my first two pages, and I have sent them to Sarah Simi. I've sent them to Sarah and showed them to her. And, it's strange getting a gift, and then I immediately wanted to color in it. And then I was shy to show it to her. I'm like, this is what I did to your gift. Is it okay? Isn't it funny? Here in the West, it's very hard to accept gifts. We have a hard time with it. I know a lot of people who just flat out can't do it and just don't like gifts. Being a Buddhist nun, when I'm around ethnic Buddhists from Vietnam, from Tibet, when I'm up at the monastery, I am often around, the tradition I'm in is a Vietnamese tradition, and I'm often around ethnic Buddhists from Vietnam. And they bow to me constantly. They give me things. Sometimes it's straight out money. When I was ordained, they had these silk scarves, and everyone put scarves around my neck. I had no idea what is going on. I look at my teacher, and he's like, just accept everything. And I'm like, what do I do with the bowing? Because I bow back, and then they bow again, and then I bow back, and somebody's got to stop bowing at some point. So I just make my bow shallower and shallower, and then I just smile and walk away because I don't really know. It's so strange as an American monastic, where we're not used to getting gifts like that. We just isn't in my culture. And to be in a culture like that and get gifts, it's very important to the gift giver to give me a gift. It's very important to them. To refuse it would be absolute rudeness. It would not okay. So as a nun, I accept the gifts and I thank them and I bow to them. And sometimes they hand me their baby to do some sort of blessing thing or something, but it gets a little strange at times. But I'm learning to accept gifts better. So when I got these beautiful gifts from Sarah, I thought of that. I thought of accepting gifts graciously, and that these gifts, the gift giving is for the giver as much as it is for the receiver, that it means something to them, to their heart. It's an opening of their heart to you. It's a connection they're making, and it is okay to accept gifts. It's all right. She had to finally tell me to stop thanking her because I just kept thanking her because I couldn't believe this book. But yeah, it's two hearts connecting with each other, and it's a beautiful, warm feeling. Thank you so much, Sarah, for giving me this warm feeling and really making my day. That was making several days in the post office parking lot, tearing up. But they're used to it. Hey, I'm bald and in robes, so crying in a parking lot is like nothing. Once you're bald and walking around in robes, you can get away with anything. All right, let us look at what else I did this month. Woo-hoo-hoo! We have Alien Worlds, my mangled book. I have an Instagram group. There's several people now in there. I meant to count. I think it's 8 or 10 people. We're space explorers, and we're going through this together. We're exploring these planets, and right now we are all on the first planet, on the Lost Planet. Now, some of us have worked ahead and done other things prior, but right now we're all together on the same planet. So we're on the first planet, the Lost Planet, and we all have space explorer names. I am Captain Catastrophe. We have all named our ships. My ship is the SS Close Call. And we have a fantastic time. We nerd out and talk in space talk and explore talk. And then sometimes we go completely off topic and talk about filming or our next coloring challenge or what we're doing in our lives. It's a fantastic group. So if you have this book and you don't have to color it page by page order, but if you want to color it in chunks with us, join us on a planet. Right now we are on the first one. The first planet, I keep calling it the Lost Planet. Is that what it's called? Lost Paradise. We're on Lost Paradise. So we're doing Lost Paradise, Luscious Landscape, Solar Powered Giant, Apex Predator, Forest Intelligence, and Flower Dwellers. And right now, the furthest anyone has gotten is a couple of us have finished Apex Predator and are going to be starting Forest Intelligence. But we're all on this planet. And so what we do is we share data that we've collected. So when we color a page, we share it with each other and we talk about our pages. And, there are several of us that have done this page and a couple of us that have done this page. And we just talk about what we've seen. I think I'm the only fool that's done this page. And then nobody's done this one. And then, we move on. And as we move on, we share, and you would not believe the differences we all have. I mean, planet and rocks, but the differences in all of our pictures are amazing. One of us has a pink ship. One of us has a sleek black ship. Just unbelievable. The pages you're going to see coming out, if you're hearing peeping in the background, that's why I'm doing this late at night, because once again, it's spring and I have chickens in my cabin, baby chickens. And I told myself I wasn't going to do this again, but here I am. And they were asleep, but they hear me talking, and so they woke up. So I'm sorry about that. Hopefully they're not too annoying. But what I was saying is that we're all on the same planet, but we all see it very differently. So this is my palette for the Lost Paradise planet. This is the palette that I'm going with. But we have folks that have a blue planet and folks that have pink and red planet. And it's so much fun. It's making this, this book is becoming something that we all look forward to getting back to. Like we do our other pages just so we can get back to this book. And just the support and the fun. Well, I did this. This took several months. We don't do a page a month. You do whatever you want to do. Just right now, we're all on this planet. This one took several months, I think, or this one did. I took a long time with these 2 pages. And this one was done. You saw this in my previous finished pages. But this is what I did here in April. Now, this is the apex predator. This is the solar giant. And it takes in nutrients from the sun, which is interesting. All of these pages are done almost 100% in Tim Holtz Distress Watercolor pencils, those pigment sticks I love so much. Not so much that one. That one's got a lot of acrylic in it. But, and some of them, as you can see the difference, some of them I've also used pencil. I've gone back in with like a black or a darker pencil just to make the shadows deeper. You can see I did it on this page, but not here. It's very subtle. In fact, it's so subtle that I'm not really doing it anymore because it's a lot of work for not much payout. This is all just the watercolor pencils. This is all just the watercolor pencils. And so I did this one. Now this one has a little bit of shading. I did take a red polychromos. I only have a 24 set, and polychromos is my very, very favorite, by far, hands down pencil. It's the one I would use 100% of the time if I had more than 24. But it has a gorgeous red in it. And so I did go over the edges of these flowers to deepen the red. I might have deepened some green in here, but I'm not sure. Most of this is just the watercolor pencils. You can do a lot with them. You just have to control your water. So this is the apex predator. It uses camouflage to hunt. So it's kind of what my take on it, the data that I collected on it, was that it is a solitary. It doesn't travel in a pack or herd or whatever. And it's solitary, and it's efficient energy expenditure. So it doesn't run after things. It waits for prey to come to it, and then it surprises them. Hence it's laying there with all these bones. Now, I put this on Instagram, and Kirby Rosanas, he always puts a little hand clapping emoji on whenever you post a picture of his. I mean, he looks at all of them. And whenever you post a colored picture, he does that. But he actually commented on this, just a couple of words. I think he liked the interpretation I did of it, or just that I'm a nerd and totally getting into his book. So I made the little flying things. I think those are pencils. They were just a little small for me to paint, but everything else, even the bones there, that's all watercolor pencil. The Distress watercolor pigment sticks, which I keep saying I'm going to do a video showing you how I do this. Anyway, so that's the apex predator. And I was able, because I am doing this in order. Other people are not. They're bouncing around. They're just staying on this planet, and they're doing the pages that call out to them. But I have been doing this in order, so I don't turn the page until I finish one. So I'm going to turn the page. So if you don't want to see it, look away for a second. But boom. My next one is, is it nature intelligence? I always forget what this one's called. Forest intelligence. And again, it's that same planet, so you can expect the same palette, but I'm going to make her very different. So, but my palette is the same 6 pencils, basically. It's rust red and a few different greens and a brown, and that's pretty much what I've made this planet. So this book is coming along, and I'm so excited. Now, when we get to the next planet, I'm going to change up, and I think everybody will change up their colors, because everybody seems to be making the planet one cohesive palette. So it'll be fun when we finally take our ships and go to another planet, and I can use different colors. That'll be neat. But in these two, I actually made the creatures match their surroundings. This one only because it seemed right to me that red and yellow would soak up the sun. And then I'm not that creative, and I saw an elephant, so I colored him like an elephant. But for her, I'm going to hopefully mix it up a little bit. All right, so that's Alien Worlds. If you want to color in Alien Worlds like this, there's no pressure. There's no race to get through planet. You can take as long as you want to. But if you want to join this with us, it is a really unique and really fun group of people. Folks that you watch their YouTube channels all the time. So it's kind of, I'm a little dazzled by the stars that are in this group. So if you're interested, just direct message me. If you can find me on Instagram, well, you have to have Instagram to join this group. So direct message me on Instagram and I'll send you the link and you can join the group and then we'll have a great time. Okay, let me show you what I did next. It's not a month without some spooky for me. And I am getting ready to put together the next Color the Tarot. I have a hashtag, which is Color the Tarot, and I have a whole video series starting with the 0 card, the Fool, in the major arcana, and going through, doing each card. It's coming out to be about once a month is what I'm getting the videos out. And again, it's no pressure. It's nothing. It's just, I recommend starting at the beginning, but you know, you don't have to. If a certain video calls out to you, watch that one. And I basically just explain what the card generally has meant in history and what it kind of means, what it's kind of evolved to. And then I give lots of examples to color it. And I use tarot as a meditative tool. I don't necessarily do spreads. I used to when I was young, but now I just sort of collect the images because they're a beautiful form of artwork. And it's really fun to see artists that you know and love do a tarot collection, like Jasmine Beckett Smith. That doesn't sound right. Jasmine Beckett Smith. Yeah, that one. And Lulu Mayo. And there are a lot of artists out there that have tarot decks, and it's fun to see their take on it. Well, Alan Robert did it, and of course he's a tongue-in-cheek comedian, so his are funny as well as scary. So I've done a couple in this book. My intention is to do them all, because they are quick. They're not very big. I've seen this one done. In fact, in my videos, there is an ongoing compilation reel. So that is not a group of any sort. What it is it's a hashtag. But when you color and any page that shows the tarot card, any card, and you post on Instagram with that hashtag, I add it to this compilation reel that's embedded in these videos that I put out every month. So you get to see what everyone's done. And a lot of people have done this one. And this is I love this one, the Fool. And then I did the Magician. I did this all in pencil. And again, hated my life choices, but I like the final work. And then I hadn't done any more in it, even though they're fast and quick and easy and essentially one-sided. So I was kind of bouncing around like, I want to do some of these. And my really dear friend, Tammy at Tammy Colors 2, she wanted to do one in here. She just got the book. And I said, hey, the one I've been really wanting to do is the Chariot. So, because look, he's in a coffin with skull and crossbones and it's like a derby. So we did this one. I used all acrylic paint pen. I mean, again, these are just quick and easy. And I had a really good time. Now, I didn't read the write-up on the back of it. We've already done the Chariot in the video series, and I had read this on the video, but I'd kind of forgotten about it. And it does say, right at the beginning that that these curtains are red and the sky is not. I didn't read it, so I didn't do it true to what Alan Robert says his card is. So I just did it my own way. But I had a lot of fun. Again, I didn't really take any shadow into effect. I just I had these colors of paint pens and I used them. And I used some Tuliard and some, no-name brands and stuff that I'm just trying to use up. And I had a really good time. So that's my Chariot guy. And here is Tammy Colors 2. Now, talking with her, and I saw her finished pages, was it? Sometimes I get confused if their video's out and I watch the video or if we were just talking about it on Instagram. But she had, I did see her finished pages because she talked about how she did it in her finished pages, and I just love it. It's totally different. I absolutely love it. She said that she had a really fun time doing it because it's basically this stuff is use your imagination. I mean, who knows what color this stuff is. And that's another thing that's fun about tarot cards is they can really be anything, any color. And I'm glad she likes it because I think this is the first one out of that book, and hopefully we can do more together now. So I'm always leery when I suggest a book and then someone gets it and they don't like it. It's just like, and I go, uh-oh. But it seems like I have one marked. Oh, yeah, this is one. The next video that's coming out in the series is the Wheel of Fortune. And I really like this card. And as you can see, there's a lot of black in there, so that also makes for less coloring. So these are real quick and easy. There's some good ones. This one's really scary. He's a serial killer. He explains his reasoning unfortunately, the information on the card is on the back, so you have to kind of do this. But he explains why he chose this image for that card. So, and of course, Juliana's in here a few times, and he has the entire deck in here. So this book is really fun. It's very thick. It's great paper. So yeah, beautiful foil cover. Definitely, if you like Ellen Robert, this is a really fun book, and they are really quick and easy to color. All right, let me show you what I did next. Okay, this was an untouched book. I have a lot of I'm going to cover up the glare for you. I have a lot of nice little town. Tatiana Bogema-Stolova is one of my very favorite artists. So I have, I think, all of them from book 4 and on up. And so here is 12. And I hadn't done this one yet. And this is the Circus one. And I've seen so many great images out of it. But for some reason, I just hadn't opened this one yet. So Disney Migs and I have been doing a buddy every month. And we bounce around from books. And she needed to do something out of this book too. So we chose this book, and we chose the balloons. Now, let me show you Disney Megs first. Here's Disney's. It's Megan's. My sweet Disney Megs, she shows me up every month. It's becoming a fun joke for me to like do my page and then like have Megan send me hers and go, yep, that's awesome. Yep. Those balloons look almost like you can touch them, don't they? They look great. I think it looks like it's all in pencil, which is wow. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed, especially with this, Amazon paper and such. I do mine straight coloring with markers. I'm always impressed when someone actually takes this paper and turns it into a little mini masterpiece like that. And it's just a sunny, beautiful day that she chose, and the colors I love. She did get one of her favorite colors, that teal, that blue in there. And it's just a joy to look at. And then, boom, here's mine. Now, I swear that's not bird poop all over my balloons, but it kind of looks like bird poop. I don't know how to do balloons. I just realized that. And I had a dozen opportunities here to get it right. And I kind of didn't. I think the one I like the best, this one is kind of good. It doesn't so much look like bird poop. It looks like, that reflection that's on balloons to make it look like, oh, it's latex and it's round. But a lot of these just look like, and it doesn't help that I chose this weird browns. So, yeah, obviously I need to work on balloons. I bet I can find a tutorial on YouTube about how to color balloons from somebody. But this lovely little balloon man has a bunch of balloons covered in bird poop, and yet these children still want to buy them. I had a lot of fun with the mice themselves. My mice are always gray, either cool gray like these guys or warm gray like this guy. I've tried making a matchstick mouse that was brown one time, and I'm just not good with it. So my mice are just always gray. But everything is alcohol markers. Absolutely everything. I did go over the lines of the balloons with acrylic markers, and then this is white Posca to try to give it, that's the only place I went over the lines, to take away the black lines to try to make it look more like a balloon. I don't know. If you guys know of any tutorial on how to color balloons, let me know. But in markers, because I mean, basically, it's just that reflection piece that I just don't know how to do. I did watch one on how to do jars, and I feel really confident with my jars now, but I tried to kind of use the same theory, and it doesn't work on balloons. Something's wrong. But I had so much fun with their clothing choice. Isn't that fun? And doesn't this look like straight out of 1970s? I mean, it reminded me of clothes that I wore, and always too short because my mom made my clothes, and they weren't always the right length, but I loved my homemade clothes. And so I just have Tatiana, her artwork is so joyful, absolutely beautiful and joyful, and you can just get carried away in it. And that's what I did. So I got carried away. I had a great time, even though, yeah, they had an unfortunate incident with a flock of seagulls. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So that's Tatiana Bogema-Stalova, and my buddy color with Disney Megs, who I enjoy every month. She is lovely. All right, I got some more for you. Okay, Dreamweaver. I am doing a hashtag with this, hashtag color Dreamweaver, and it has opened up a whole Pandora's box of how you can't get this book. It is out of print. However, it randomly shows up on Amazon, and I got a new copy, so I don't know where they come from, but sometimes it also shows up used. It shows up, I haven't seen it on eBay yet, but I think it will at times. So people have found it. A Canadian colorist friend of mine found it on an online Canadian bookstore. It just sort of randomly shows up, brand new versions of this out of print book. So it's Olivia Whitworth. Let me show you the ISBN. I found the best way to, is that the ISBN? Yeah, I found the best way to search for it is to, no, I think one of those numbers is right, is to put that in and then into Google. So, and then it just brings up every site that has it. And then usually when you click on it, it says out of stock, but at least you'll know where it might be. And it's easier than going to each site individually and looking for it. It's just put the ISBN number. And it is hard to look for it by name because there's a lot of books called Dreamweaver, including a Mythographic, I believe. So you have to put, and her name is rather common as well. So there's a lot of Olivia Whitworths that come up. But the ISBN will get you there. And I really hope if you want this book, you can find it. I have a flip through on my channel. This book has dreamy paper. Itself is a dream. It's about a lady who's dreaming, and her cat goes into her dream, and she follows her cat to go get it. And it's absolutely stunning. Now, one thing about this paper, it is thick. And thick sounding and thick paper, but wet mediums bleed, which I did not expect. So this is what I did. I did actually the first image in the book. Every single page is a double page spread. So this is just a book of all double page spreads. Absolutely gorgeous. Definitely check out my flip through because I go through a nice slow flip through and we look through every single page. What I did here, well, it's because some of these have big spaces. I decided that I'm not going to make this into a book that takes me days and days to do it because I won't do it. So I use as easy and mediums as I could. So this is chalk pastels in the back that I just rubbed onto a palette and then took a dry brush, and brushed it on and kind of mushed it into the paper. I did it first and then realized, well, that was dumb because now I have pastel that I'm going to get everywhere, but they didn't go anywhere. I don't have workable fixative here, so I just kind of was careful touching it, and actually it never came off. And it has, let me smell it. I don't think I fixed it yet. So I haven't sprayed fixative on it, and it's still not coming off. So those chalk pastels worked pretty well. They're just a no-name brand, something I got cheap. And then everything else is acrylic marker. Like everything. There's no pencil. Nope, there's no pencil anywhere on here. So it's all just acrylic markers and some metallic. This is probably the Ganze Tambi, the Kuretake. All the shiny stuff is the starry colors again. This, it's probably that one there. And this one, this is my favorite one. But I used it everywhere to make things sparkle. Now, the background here is distress ink, distress oxide or distress ink. Put on, my soup was done, so it was beeping in the Instapot. So I put it on with a little tiny applicator, little tiny brushes I put on, and just to try to get that sort of light galaxy look. And then this is more of that shiny paint from Kuretake. And everything is just a lot of Tule arts. Now, I had to be super careful because I keep bumping the camera. Look, it bled. It bled. The paint pen bled. And the worst ones that bled were the Tule arts. The no-name ones, the Arteza ones that I don't, the Artix ones, not Arteza. The Artix ones that I don't care for, they were fine. But the Tule arts, and I think it was that sharp pointy end, which my next ones I'm going to get not the fine tip, but also that they're very juicy, because they're fantastic, right? And this paper just doesn't handle wet media. A friend of mine, Tammy, she got hers, she just found a used copy off of Amazon. It just popped up. And I think I think it was her that told me she was going to try some wet mediums and see if she could see what works and what doesn't. Because I was really surprised. I've never had acrylic paint pens bleed through like that. So anyway, so this is what I did. I really, really liked it. I had fun. It was a lot of, the pictures were a lot of work. And all these pictures are images that will come up later in the book of adventures that she has. And I've decided with her, some people are doing her with the same bodysuit color throughout the whole book. I've decided that it's a dream, so I might change it up. I'm thinking definitely about changing up her skin tone too, because it's a dream, you know. So everywhere she is, I'm going to make her a different ethnicity. I think that's what I'm going to do. But anyway, you know what? I know that's not acrylic. What's on her body is, it looks like crayons that I smoothed out with Gamsol. Yeah, so I really had a lot of fun. Now this page, someone commented on the Instagram post that it looked like I was very peaceful. And I think that's very interesting because while I was coloring this, I was at such peace. It was very meditative. It was just flowy and loose and exactly what I thought it would be coloring in this book. I colored it in ways that I don't usually color. And I loved it. There wasn't a lot of fussing to do with the acrylic paint pens, except for trying not to get them too wet. Try not to go over, you couldn't go over something twice at all. You had to really just go over it once and then hope it was good. But I'll do it again. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing my next page in here. If you have this book, please use the hashtag, because I will do something fun with pictures that I collect off the Instagram with that hashtag, Color Dreamweaver. And because I always like to collect those pages and those pictures and do a reel and do something fun with them. So I will do something fun with your page. All right. So that was Dreamweaver. All right. I have more. Okay. Mythographic Magical Earth, Joseph Kattenbang. Probably one of the most beautiful mythographics. I say that, I think, every time. But one that I had not touched. Can you believe it? I couldn't, and either could my buddy. My buddy was Veronica from Veronica Dunn 66 on Instagram. And she reached out and wanted to do a page, and she gave me, I can't remember, gave me some options. And she was shocked that I hadn't yet touched anything out of this mythographic. So she got me into this mythographic, and I'm so much fun. So much fun. I had so much fun. And the page I did is this one. Oh my gosh, I am so glad she chose this one because I've looked at this page. It's pixelation. It's like some guy in an AI dream or a VR dream. And I couldn't, I didn't know how to do the pixelation, but I wanted to. I've never seen a coloring page like this. So I went online and I Googled images for pixelation. I think I just used pixelation first, and I saw that there were a lot of ways to color it. Sometimes you can make this all, blurry. But the way that it was drawn is that this part where it was black didn't have any squares. So it would have been cool. Like if it was all squares, I would have done what I did here, but to all of it. And it would have looked like, the pixelation and the image is just coming into focus. However, Joseph didn't put squares in here. And so I chose to do that part black, like it's the black space before the pixelation. And my thought was that this person is creating this universe and it's just coming into creation basically. And on these squares, I decided to make them still black, like that's part that's still missing. And here, now I realized this is the outline of the stem like this. I really should have done that in green. I have no idea why I did it in blue, like the background, because that's the stem. Oh well, I realized it later. It would be more cohesive if I had done that green. I don't know what I was thinking, but this is all done in alcohol markers, all of it. Is there any acrylic? No, it's all alcohol markers. Yeah. Now, I pretty much in Mythographics and Mythogorias, I use except for maybe if there's any embellishments like glittery stuff, it's always all alcohol markers. The paper is perfect for alcohol markers. It doesn't, ooh, I bumped you hard that time. It doesn't soak in too much and it doesn't spread too much. I mean, it does soak in, but it's just perfect for it. Now, this is an older book. These older books, I don't know if you've noticed, but they had better paper. I mean, this is thick. This is thick paper. This is not the paper that Mythographic comes in today. Not at all. So I wish they would go back to this delicious paper, but because it was really a joy to color on. But I like coloring any Mythographic. So you know what? This would look really good with the edges painted black. I do that in some of them. That would look good. That would add to that this is just this world. I think I'll do that. I'll go back and paint this with black acrylic. I probably meant to and just forgot. But yeah, I had a really good time. Now let's look at Veronica's. So Veronica took a completely different route. She did her pixelations all the same color. She said she did them last, and I did mine last too. And she went a slightly different route with the pixelations. But when I looked up, pixelations, there's a lot of different ways to make that effect. And I love what she did. I love her light hand that she has with her pages. I think it's just a really beautiful page and just a really fun page. I think this was challenging for both of us. I think she had a better handle on it than I did. It took me almost 3/4 of the month to just think about this page and finally get a start on it. And then once I started, it went really quick, like all Mythographics do for me, because I'm using my favorite medium and I have an idea. But I just love what she did. So Veronica, thank you so much for buddying with me. I look forward to buddying with you again. She has a lot of the Mythographics, as do I. And so I could see us doing more of Mythographics. Alrighty then, I have more. Okay, I was into this buddy color. This is one of my very favorite books that I own. The Mythogorias are at the top of my favorite list, top of my favorites of books that I own, and this Vengeful Forest is one of my favorites. I did just realize that I mangled the back. Why am I so hard on books? I'm so hard on books. This one by Shelley Carroll is great. if you like Mythogorias, this, some people don't care for, this one has a lot of dead and decaying animals in it. I looked closer at those pages. They're not animal abuse or killed animals. They're more like animals that you would find in the forest that have been killed by something. And I think that's part of her story, is just how the forest is life and death. And I'm not sure if I would color those pages, but they also don't bother me. But she has a new mythographic coming out. And I'm very excited. It's, I looked on her Instagram, and she's got the pages done. So they're being sent to the book people now. And she's doing a magical apothecary one for Mythographic. So I can't wait, because I think her artwork is fantastic. This was a buddy with my friend Coloring Mom, Paula. She is also in the Alien Worlds group, and that's how we connected and found out we both love this spooky stuff. So we did this page. Whoa. I both hate this page and love this page. Like, for coloring a crazy deranged boar is never something that I ever thought I'd do. And like, I'm not attracted to the page, and yet, look at the dynamic, just it coming at you. I mean, it's insane. And the movement of it with these spikes and and the nature that it's popping out of. I just love the movement of this page. It's definitely not a static page. So what I did with this is I decided the first thing I knew I wanted to do was these spikes. Wild asparagus, it's sometimes called, or horsetail, is a plant that grows along waterways, and we have a lot of water here. And in the spring, it's delicious. You can pick it and cook it like asparagus. And the way Chili had drawn it with these little stripes, it looked very much like that. And so because this is all nature, this whole book is all nature, and there's often plants growing out of animals, just like this here is definitely plants growing out of the boar. I decided to make it that wild asparagus. And then the colors kind of went from there. Of course, this is all grass. I did it green. I did the fiddlehead ferns, which we have right now. I added some red to them to kind of reflect the red that I knew I was going to do in the boar. And then I had fun. He is grays, this is all Copic markers except for this background here. He is just various grays, warm grays mostly, and various layers of them and different techniques of them. This has a little bit of a pink gray on it to give the idea of a pinkish nose, to make him even more ugly. That's what's fun about this book, is that you're kind of intentionally making the thing as ugly as it is drawn. And it's kind of fun to make something ugly. I think that's why I like the gory and the horror coloring books. Not that I like an impaled hand bleeding on a boar's tusk, but more that I just love coloring something to make it grotesque and ugly rather than cute and pretty, which is what we do a lot. This is something you can just let your imagination go and try to make it as ugly as possible and as scary as possible. And I think that's fun. Give the tongue some weird stuff and make slime coming out of its, glittery slime coming out of its mouth. And the background, I really wanted the thing to just look like it was exploding. And I just was looking at it. I didn't know what to do. And then I was like, what? I've tried glittery acrylic paint, metallic watercolors in backgrounds before, and never liked it because it's just too much shiny. But this was just little bits and pieces. And I'm like, it might look really cool. And I love it. This is of course, the Kuretake Gansai Tambi Starry Colors. My favorite one, the pan that is running out. And I love it. I love what it did. I love it's coming out of this explosion. And then, of course, I had fun making the hand look as realistic as I could. Yuck. That's just disgusting. But oh, so much fun. That's what I love about this book. It's like, when do you get an opportunity to color that? So again, this is all alcohol marker. Except for the shiny bits, which is that paint. Everything is alcohol marker. Nothing else in here. So let's just see what Paula did. Now, Paula's I freaking love, and she sent it early in the month. So I knew the bar was high. I mean, look at it. She also went with red eyes, and she made kind of a reddish skinned, a reddish brownish skin, which I think is more realistic for these wild boars. And her hand, look at the hand. I love her hand. It really does look dead. Mine looks like it's freshly torn off. Hers looks like it's been on there for a little bit. And then I love how she did the background and the foliage. It's just really, really cool. I think we both were surprised how much we liked coloring this page. I don't think either one of us really liked this page, but I knew I wanted to do it so badly, so I kind of talked her into it. And then once we both got into it, in fact, I think she said she was kind of disappointed because this is the page in the book she really didn't like, but she did it, and I kind of didn't like it either. And that's why I think I wanted to do it. It was a challenge. So we both did it, and we actually really both enjoyed it. We had a great fun time doing it. So yeah, so that is Mythographic, Vengeful Forest by Shelley Carroll, and Mythogoria, Vengeful Forest. So I'm always up for doing a page out of this. I don't know if I'm doing any. I'm really full for May with all of the mermaid stuff I'm doing, so I probably won't do something out of Vengeful Forest for May. But going forward after May, if you're interested in doing something, I have all the Mythogorias except for Frozen Nightmares, which I think I'm going to get. It's at Book Outlet right now for cheap. And Gory Underworld, which I don't even think you can get anymore. That one's more based on movies and wasn't really my cup of tea, but I have the others. So if you want to do something out of any of them, but I'm especially kind of hooked in this one right now. Okay, I have one more for you. This, Francois Gautier. Now, this is my newest book of his. He has dark art, he has dark art Gothica, and he has dark art supernatural. And then he has dimensions, and I have those all too. But in the dark art series, this, I think, by far is his best one, because they're all great, but they're so intricate that you almost can't color them. The first one is so tiny, I think you could only use fine liners. The second one, Gothica, is a little bit better, and I've colored out of that one a couple of times, but again, I had to use fine liners. It's still so tiny. Now, Supernatural is, this is what I'm doing, this one for Mermaid. Look, that's much more colorable. I mean, it's still very detailed, but not insanely detailed. So I think these pages are all delightful. They're gory, they're scary. Here's another one I want to do for Mermaid. But they're colorable. They remind me more of a Mythogoria, right? And not so, I mean, that's very detailed, but you can still color it. Gothica and just plain dark art are even more intricate than this. It's tiny, 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 tiny. So I did my very first page out of this. I have not colored in this yet. I kind of forgot I had it. And I was going through my list, my book of books that I write all my books in, and I was looking to see what I hadn't colored in yet. And when I saw this one, I'm like, are you kidding me? I haven't colored in a scary book? So of course I pulled this out, and I did this one. This is all, okay, this is most, now these are single-sided, so I can use alcohol markers, and I did. So there's a lot of alcohol markers, but it's also a lot of acrylic paint pen. It's also coming out of the book. This book, unfortunately, falls apart very easily. So I did a lot of acrylic paint pen. There is a lot of shiny stuff in here. So where do I start? So her hair is all acrylic paint pens with a shiny silver one that is in there. Her crown is all alcohol marker. And then what I did was I had a Hero Arts shimmery crystal glaze that's like a Stickles. And I put it over those gemstones to make them really sparkle. And I also put it in her eye, but I didn't put a whole lot. Yeah, you can kind of see it. So they sparkle like sparkle. Then all this is alcohol marker. What I did here is I put that clear glaze that I did on the Hannah Carlzon page. So it isn't the sparkle one, it's the clear one to make these look like beads. I colored them to look kind of like, turquoise beads, sort of. And then I had, this acrylic is a metallic acrylic. That's a metallic acrylic on there. This is all alcohol markers. Now the green and yellow is acrylic paint pens. But all this is alcohol marker. And the pipe that she's got here has got that glaze on the ends. I think it's supposed to be a bird skull, but I'm not sure. Glaze on this jewelry part that I made jewels. And then her fingernails are alcohol marker, but with that glaze on it again. That Tuvo clear dimensional glaze. So I really liked this one. Now she's blowing. What I think she's doing is she smokes off this pipe. She inhales here and then she blows here. And I feel like she's blowing life into the skull that's being held together by rawhide and beads. It's very magical. Francois Gautier is one of my favorite artists as well. I just find him hard to color in those older books, but this was not hard to color and I made it really crazy looking with all of the detail that I didn't shirk on the details. I actually embraced all the details. But I liked it like that. I like it kind of with all the movement and craziness of it. I kind of thought of her as these things on her were glowing, like these lines on her glow. And then I was kind of disappointed after I did the pipe that I made it very similar in color. I was kind of going for a minimal palette, but then I realized that made this hard to see. So it might have been, rather than making it the same color as her skin, maybe I should have totally made this different to make it stand out. But because I had done these side jewelry things, those colors, I did them that way again in her crown. But in her crown, I made them sparkly, so they do kind of stand out. Change them a little bit. But I love all the glitter and shimmer. The pearls is the Karataki Ganzai Tabi, the white gold. Her jewelry is a metallic acrylic pen. Yeah, there's some of that glaze on this blue stuff that's leaking out of her pipe. I really loved this page. When I saw it, it kind of took my breath away when I first saw it. And I had to look through this book again. I didn't even remember the pages in it. It's been a while since I bought it, but I never really got into it when I bought it. I got it when it was brand new. And now, when I went through it, I was so delighted. I just took my time one evening and spent, a good half hour just looking at all the pages. But when I came across this one, it was like, whoa, I have got to do that. That is so eerie and spooky and beautiful. So, yeah, I really like the way the beads shine with that glaze on it. So that is the last page, and I'm going to leave you with that image. I hope that you have had a good time watching this video. I hope that your day is going well or your evening is going well, that if you are feeling low, you have found a way to make yourself distract yourself, ease your brain. Coloring is a great way to do it. Just sit down and grab some pens, and it doesn't have to be a masterpiece. Remember, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece. We're coloring because we love the process, right? And if it turns out great, bonus. And if it turns out a disaster, we laugh at it and we pick up our mediums and we do another page. So I love you, and I hope that everything is going great in your life and that you're getting lots of coloring in. And Good Thomas says, would you please go away? Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.